And welcome in to In-Game Chat for Saturday, July the 8th, 2023. It is Season 17, Episode 22. I am Scott.
And I'm RJ.
And welcome to the show. Going to do the clap real quick so I can get that out of the way. It's right up front. Sometimes you just feel like smashing something. Not really, I don't. I'm good. But anyway, welcome into the show. If you'd like to get in touch with us, our phone number is 334-272-9228. Call that number and you will reach us. Or, better yet, hit our Discord. Duke's in there. Duke Frugum. Steve, he's hanging out in the chat room. We'll get to him here very quickly once we get this out of the way. Go to ingamechat.net for all the links to get in touch with us. You can find us on Twitter at InGameChat. You can find us on Facebook there as well. For those of you that still use that, we don't have a thread yet. I suppose I should look into that and get us one. You can email us, everyone, at ingamechat.net. We're streaming right now on the cam. You can watch us on twitch.tv. Search In-Game Chat. Then you'll find us. Join the chat room live while we broadcast. Thar66 says, I think it's been mentioned before, but what's that intro music from? Goes back to a game all the way from 2008. Is that where that's from? Crackdown.
Oh, Crackdown, okay.
Yeah.
Intro music, right?
Yeah, this is the music from Crackdown. We started our show when that game released, and there was a beta for Halo attached to it for anybody that had it. So people were kind of picking up the game just so they could get into the beta. So we gave away, I think, about 5 copies of that game. Like, we gave away a copy a week for a while. It was kind of cool. We were giving away copies of Crackdown where we could. So
it says February 20th of 2007.
That's about right. 2007. Okay, I said 6, but I said 8. But it was 2007. You're right on that.
Yeah. I think the only thing that sticks out about that game is the obsession you had with trying to find every hidden package in that game.
It wasn't too bad. That one wasn't too hard. It got to the point because you could hear there was little tones and things, and so I'd just be out and about in the world and hear that and go for it. But that was one of the larger things that I've chased down. Although I would say Destiny has probably killed any kind of
there's no comparison
chase thing that I have ever done before. Where it's like I got to get all of these. I think Destiny has killed that. That I know of. Yeah, I don't know anything about Threads. I know it's a new way to sign up or to do social stuff. I was going to say it's Facebook's version of Twitter. But yeah, it's exactly what it is. And I have not signed up for it yet. And so Steve says, how's Threads? Brian says, very Instagrammy. I would imagine so, considering I think it's born out of that, whatever you want to call it, that structure, that shell, that sort of aspect of it. So, I don't know. We don't have an Instagram, or did we? We may have had one at one point. I think I tried to I tried to make one for the show, and I just never used it as much as I did like Twitter at that time. When I was going to LA and doing all those things, I was trying to, back when Instagram first started, I tried to get us one. And we may actually have one out there with our name on it that has absolutely nothing posted to it. I could have done that easily enough, made one and not done anything with it. Yeah. Which is a lot like what I would probably do with Threads. Make one and not actually do anything with it. So anyway, welcome into the show. Steve, we're going to get to you real quick. In fact, why don't we go ahead and just jump into that and talk to Steve? Hey, man, you there?
I am here.
Hey, there he is. What's going on, dude? I haven't talked to you in forever.
I know, it's been, there's reason for that, actually. Unfortunate reason.
Yeah. Oh, no. Oh, never mind then.
Yeah. No, well, it's funny. I was reading the Discord on air chat, and I think we were talking about like Resident Evil 4 back in March, and that was like around the 18th. Well, a week after that, my oldest daughter was diagnosed with leukemia.
Okay.
So I basically we were living out of the hospital for a while, but we are now like, to get past all like the sad parts, her diagnosis is low risk, it's common, it's treatable, and we are approaching a time period where we can now start to have like a routine back. So there was a big gap there, and I kind of used like my Thursday night gaming to try and get some kind of normalcy back into the house. And we're climbing out of that trench, but it's not she's in great spirits, and like I said, she's got the best doctors on the planet that she's working with. But it was rough. It was a rough March and April for sure.
Yeah. No, I want to say I remember seeing that on your Facebook.
My wife is really good about kind of updating, and the support from everybody has been tremendous. That also helps, and it's really just about kind of like talking through things and not letting your mind get to an area where you get to a point of where you can't control things. It's about taking in the data and moving on with that day to day.
Well, in that aspect, then, let's jump in to talk about games so that we can keep our mind off of that. But I will say, I'm glad things are better and looking better, and I just hope that trend continues. And wish you guys all the best with that.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that, and I'll be around. It's not like I'm going around, going away. Things are just going to be a little bit different.
Of course, yeah. So, that's horrible to hear, but glad it's getting better. And to jump into the gaming side of things, I mean, it has been a while since we talked to you. I don't know if you want to talk about what you've been playing, or maybe you want to talk about some stuff that's been going on game-wise. I have no idea what you would like to talk about, but I hand it over to you to direct us.
I never got around to playing Resident Evil 4. That was a game I bought and installed, and then, like I said, that thing happened, and then I never picked it up again. But when I did pick up, I thought you guys are probably talking. I haven't been listening, but Diablo 4. Diablo 4 has consumed my time.
I would imagine. I almost broke and got it.
You should break and get it, because I think I know I was very skeptical about a couple of things. One, I wasn't really in a great place with Blizzard Activision anyway.
Right.
I didn't really know if I wanted to support them.
That's kind of where I sit too.
And then somebody said something once about, where, it's more about supporting the developer, the hardworking developers that did make this game possible, rather than the company that, employs them. Because there are people that, spend a lot of time and a lot of, late nights developing this game.
And are decent human beings and good people.
Correct. And yes, it's a $70 game, and then there's like a $90 package, and probably like a $110 one too. I can't remember which one. I got the middle one because it encompassed the seasons.
Right.
But yeah, so that I looked at it more of, wanting to support the talent behind the game, rather than the overshadowing company. But I'm hoping that the CEO gets kind of kicked out by Microsoft whenever that deal happens, and then we can all go back.
That deal's looking like more and more likely to happen. But boy, it has been, as far as news outlets getting information, they've been eating good from this trial, with everything that has been with everything that's been made public. Because when you go to trial for these things, a lot of things get made public that you may or may not want to have been public. And even, as we found out, some people didn't want things public and thought, covering them up with a pen would somehow hide what was there, but it didn't. In other words, they were trying to do redactions and thought, well, I'll just take this little black marker, this little black Sharpie, and I'll write right over. No, it doesn't do it. That does not get rid of it. And so somebody else found it and looked at it. And I think it was the one that revealed, how much money was spent on Last of Us Part 2, how many people worked on Last of Us Part 2, how much money was spent on Horizon sequel, and how many people worked on Horizon sequel. Not necessarily anything that I feel. Now, somebody else in game development or in that business would say, oh man, I hate that got out. But at the same time, I'm like, well, we know games are expensive to make. We know a lot of people work on them.
Yeah.
I don't understand why. It's fine if you just don't want to put that out there. That's one thing or another. But I don't understand why you would want that redacted, why you wouldn't want people to know that you spent this much money on a game. Especially on these two games that have already been out, have already done their thing, have made back their money, or made whatever kind of profit they could. I wasn't sure why that was an issue.
Probably some accounting thing.
Maybe
whatever.
It was a Sony thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It also goes into how much you charge for your games too, which we're now starting to see. $70 game. Well, I think that's been out for consoles for a while, but even on PC,
that's the PC version.
That's a new thing that's starting to kind of creep in. And I think Redfall was one of the first, right? And that was a disastrous launch. So people see that and that's the AAA, signal, right? You're going to spend $70 on a game. You expect AAA level quality. From the product.
This is a complete jump off from where we were talking for Diablo. But you were the guy that I was thinking of over the past couple of weeks that we've been doing the show that I have been wanting to talk to, or at least to find out your interest. And we're switching gears massively here. Starfield.
No problem. Oh, God, I'm so excited for that game.
Okay.
That's going to be,
I wondered,
drop everything
because you put so much time into No Man's Sky, which feels like it's essentially doing what Starfield is.
Yeah, and you know what? If there's things that you can't do in that game, I'm going to be disappointed. I'm not worried about like the scale or scope. Like I don't need, whatever it is, 10 quintillion systems to visit.
Yeah.
Which nobody would ever visit in their lifetime. But there's a behavior in that game that exists that I hope it's just not connected with a bunch of loading screens. That was what made No Man's Sky feel so seamless and free, was you could just take off from a planet, drive straight up, get to outer space, and then fly around endlessly forever. That needs to be done in a way. And I think I did see a report on how many planet systems that Todd had announced. I think he said it was like over 1,000 or something.
Was it?
Like
I thought it was just 100.
I have to go back and look, but it was enough where I was like, that's plenty of content to, be satisfied with. Like I can't even tell you if I visited 100 systems in No Man's Sky. It's up there, but
No Man's Sky is just massive. I wouldn't even begin. Nope, you're right, 1,000. Okay,
so that's probably something I'll never accomplish with the game. I'll never visit all 1,000 systems.
There's 100 different planets that are spread across 1,000 different planets spread across 100 different star systems.
That's neat to me.
Yeah.
So that's the perfect number. You don't need the infinite system, but that's cool. But yeah, this is a drop everything game, and then of course everyone's skeptical about the bugs, because you can have the Bethesda bugs that make a game so unique, like the Fallouts and the Skyrims and all that.
And then we've got and I've got it in here in our news here where they teamed up with AMD of all people for their tech partnership, I guess, for their PC partnership. So they teamed up with AMD, which kind of means there's not. I mean, if you're, I don't know, mods might help you with the DLSS, but you won't be getting that. It's not that I wanted them to partner with NVIDIA. I would have preferred no partnership at all, to where you could use either of the abilities that both systems have. But as it stands, a lot of people are worried currently that you're not going to have DLSS features in this because AMD has partnered with them. And it is often, AMD has their own version of DLSS, but it's not as good as NVIDIA's version of DLSS. That was something that kind of a lot of PC people were
you can
unhappy
see
about.
that funding and partnerships comes with those stipulations.
Right. Well, they're also packaging it with processors and graphic cards now.
Yeah.
So coming up in the next few months, AMD processors in the 7 and the 9 ranges, and then there are also their graphics cards, and I don't remember the list there, are going to be packaged with a free copy of Starfield. Depending on which one you get, it'll be packaged with a different version of Starfield. Starfield Regular will be in the lower tier. Starfield Premium will be in the upper tier. So if you're getting an AMD 9 processor, then you're going to be paying quite a lot of money, but you'll also get the premium version of Starfield, which is whatever. It's on Game Pass, you know. And I guess you'll be getting that on PC, I suppose?
Yeah, it's coming to Steam. So
it is.
That'll be...
Yeah, it'll be on Steam, but it's going to be on Game Pass, and it's just so hard for me to... I have Game Pass, you know? Why can't I utilize that on my PC? But I know Game Pass is not that great. Well, let me put it this way. Game Pass is great. Microsoft's games for Windows or whatever that version is on Windows,
not
that
so
one's
much.
not... It's a dice roll. And it is a dice roll every single day. It is not a dice roll like every time you install a game. It is a dice roll every single minute that thing could possibly do what it does and not let you delete the game and then have all these other issues where you just got to format the hard drive and get it off of there and start from scratch. It's real tough for me to consider it. This is probably one that, you're right, I'll probably will go Steam with it. Just purchase it outright on Steam.
Because some folks in that situation wouldn't. I mean, not even worth the risk.
Yeah, I know. And I'm sitting there with it. I'm sitting there with it as well. So, I was just trying to get your opinion on Starfield, because the more I looked at Starfield, the more I was like, well, this is doing the same thing that No Man's Sky is doing. So I'm curious if players who have sunk so much time into a game like No Man's Sky look at Starfield and think, I don't want to do all that over again.
Yeah, but, you know, No Man's Sky didn't have, you know, the NPCs that Starfield will have. And I think one thing that makes me even more excited about the game is when they showed off the combat. Like, the combat didn't look like that clunky Fallout combat. It didn't look like, you know, kind of using the VAT system or anything.
No.
It looked like completely revamped. It looked like a, you know, kind of a modern shooter would look. So that's another thing that kind of gives me excitement about just the whole experience.
Yeah. Yep. I am massively interested in it. I want to get in on day one, that sort of thing. I want to be there with the zeitgeist of people, but I also am going to wait and see how this thing kind of pans out. Because we know their track record for buggy launches.
Yeah, it's Bethesda.
Yeah, where we have to kind of wait for that to be ironed out.
Like I said last time, man, part of Bethesda's charm is the glitches in this game.
You call it charm, but, you know.
I'll be more concerned if Bethesda didn't have glitches in their games when it comes out.
You know, it's like, if you're playing it on console, you're probably not as bothered by it or even as noticeable. But something. Hello. But something about the PC. He's going in and out there. We'll see if he comes back. But something about the PC part of it is where you just run into the worst of the worst. Like if it's buggy on your console, it's one thing. You can probably either work around it or they put a patch out. It's buggy on PC. A lot of the times it almost feels like you're on your own to try and figure out how this gets fixed. Yeah, but by either getting a mod or...
Yeah, I was about to say, you got a heck of a mod community, though.
You do. Not just the mod community, but you've got a massive settings thing as well.
Yeah.
You can tweak the thing. He's back. You can tweak it all kinds of different ways and make it work. So, I'm sorry, you back?
Yeah, that's my fault.
That's okay.
That's all right.
On my cable. But, yeah, no, I mean, Starfield's going to be great. That's the bottom line. It's going to be, I'm not going to say it's going to be great. I'm going to say it's going to be highly anticipated. I'm going to play the crap out of it. So we'll see. We'll see how great it is, or how, you know, if the bugs are its charming self, or if it actually is like game killing.
I'm really curious if you can play between I've asked this before, and I don't know, but if I play it on, are the game saves shared between? Like, I want to play it on console, basically, so that Wendy can see it when I'm playing it, or just so I can be casually sitting in bed and play the game. Mm-hmm. And then, like, when I get up in the mornings, or on the weekend or something, where I want to sit in front of the PC and play it, I want to make sure that my save state goes back and forth. I would hope, but I don't know. If that's going to be the case.
I'm sure they'll have some kind of server that uploads that data. Like, in addition to it being backed up on Steam, there'll be some kind of way.
Well, I mean, I don't think that they've done that for any of their games, do they? Or have they? Of course, the last game from Bethesda would have been Skyrim, right?
No, Bethesda hasn't done it, but it does happen in other games.
Oh, it happens in other games, sure. I was just curious about Bethesda. And the fact that it's a Microsoft game, too, may have done so. Wait a second. Bethesda, they've done other games, right? Or is this the next game after Skyrim? No.
Yeah,
yes?
Fallout 4. Fallout 4 was after Skyrim, and then Fallout 76.
Fallout 76. Yeah.
And then, now we're Starfield.
Really? Fallout... Oh, you're right. I was thinking of Fallout 3. That's from way back. Then there was Fallout 4. I forgot. You know what? I forgot about Fallout 4.
I thought it's Tango. Never mind.
It's like it went from Fallout 3 to Fallout 76. I completely forgot about 4.
And 4 still remains like my top 5 games ever played. If I look at just pure gameplay hours, because they give you a ton to do. And what was cool, or what wasn't cool, but what they should have done with Fallout 4 is have some kind of, at the time, like when multiplayer games and co-op games were kind of taking off, they should have had some kind of, drop in, drop out co-op with that game, which I think, I don't.
So then would make the time go by, because you were exploring a whole lot of area in that game. Yeah.
And you were doing custom like base building and things you want to like show off with other people, right? Which is what, again, No Man's Sky does so easy. You not only do you build a base on a planet that you can invite your friends to, you can build an entire warship out that's orbiting the planet, and you can have people visit that base. Like everything is customizable. It's insane.
I jumped back into No Man's Sky over the holiday weekend. I didn't do very much, but hop a couple of planets or hop a couple of star systems, and searched a derelict ship.
I love those missions. I love those missions because they're different every time. Like, they're not.
It was the strangest thing. I couldn't find all that. I swear I looked at that thing up and down, but I couldn't find the rest of. Like, my objectives were to get to the crew log or something else, and I swear I looked as much as I could, and I could not find everything.
Not the bridge.
You can find the crew log, and then the crew log makes you unlock another door to get to the captain's log, which is where like usually the end is.
Which is what I was looking for, but I could not find it. So I don't know. I may try and go back and do that. I'm not even sure if I'm still in that system or not. So, because with No Man's Sky, you just go. You can just keep going and going and going. I jumped into a lot of older stuff this past week or 2 weeks that I hadn't been messing around with in a while. I finally did Flight Sim. I finally loaded that up on the console, my Xbox, and did Flight Sim. That was pretty cool. Flew over the radio station. It was interesting. Just really, Maxwell. I think Maxwell is on that. So I started from there.
Yep.
Which is an Air Force base here in town. And so flew out, and I turn around and I see the city skyline, and I was just like, oh, wow, that's the city, our little bitty city. That's it. Oh, yeah, there's the interstate. Let me follow the interstate. There's the station. All right, let's see if I can find the house. Zip on back. There's the house.
Yeah.
So that was interesting to do.
Were you impressed with the accuracy, or a little disturbed by it?
I was very impressed.
Okay.
I was not disturbed at all by it. I was impressed and amazed by it, and also just flying again. I haven't done a flight sim in a while. It was a lot of fun.
No, I was just thinking, why is my house in this game?
Yeah. No, it's there. It's there. The other thing that I jumped back into, and I know we're doing we're not at our point where we're talking about games we played, but I popped back. I hadn't played it. I hadn't played it since 2018.
Goodness, so I'm interested to find out got you to go play it again?
It was Red Dead 2.
Okay.
Oh, that was on sale on Steam. Did you pick it up on the Steam sale?
No. I had it on console, so I've been playing it on my Xbox.
One console. Got it.
Yeah. Well, I have it on my Xbox. My Xbox Series X is where I'm playing it. And it is on PC, and I keep.
Sale.
I know. I'm so tempted, just because I know it can look really good on PC. Probably play even better. And I know there's mods for it and all sorts of different things.
This is another one of them titles I've always heard of, was interested in, just never got around to playing it. I mean, especially with your Cougar Man story.
Is that one, or it was from 1, wasn't it?
One, yeah.
There's rumor that we're going to get a remake of 1 or a remaster or something for Red Dead 1 coming out later, possibly later this year or before March of next year, I believe. Take-Two said they have 2 older franchises that they're doing remasters of, or remakes. And it's all but confirmed that one of those is Red Dead. And then the other one looks to be Midnight Club.
Okay. Racing title. That's a racing title. Yeah.
Did you jump back into Red Dead just because of the GTA 6 news that was popping around?
No. I can't.
Or rumors, I should say.
I guess maybe seeing it on the Steam sale kind of made me think, I've got that game. I really should go back to that. And I don't know if I was just looking for some great scenery, which is why I did the flight sim and then I did Red Dead or whatever the case may be. I'm not sure, but it's clicked with me. And I noticed when I went to override one of my saves, I was like, oh my God, I haven't played this since 2018. And I just started chapter 3. That's how far I was in this game. That's how not very far I was in the game back in 2018.
You only scratched the surface then, yeah.
Just barely. We just moved to a new camp. Yeah. That was it. Oh, and I have a problem with that. I got really frustrated last night because... So the story was... oh, God, what happened? I was scouting for a new camp. Yeah. Came upon this German family. Whose father of the family had been kidnapped.
Sounds like a side mission here.
Yeah, it was a story mission. So I went and rescued the father, and my task then was to return him back to his family, which I did. Once that was over with, it's like, all right, well, you've got some waypoints up at the old camp. Go talk to some of your crew there if you want to. I saw, it was a buck drinking from the stream where I just dropped this dude off with his family. I shot it. It was a 3-star white-tailed buck, whatever. It was a big thing. I put him on the back of my horse. I drive into camp. Camp's closed because they're moving. In the story, camp's moving. So everything that I want to do with this thing can't be used at the time. And I thought, oh, man. So... I load the deer back onto my horse. Well, no, I go talk and do the mission. And the mission is we're moving camp. We're going from this location way across the map to this other location. Okay. So we go and do that. And I'm like, where is my deer?
Gone.
It's gone. So I go back to our old camp and there's the carcass sitting on the ground where the old camp was. It's now rotted. And so I can't do anything with it.
No, you found another one.
I did. Okay. I immediately went and found another one. It was a 1-star. Not as great, but it still was good enough. I load him up. I take him back to our camp. Again, we're way over here, so I'm riding way back over here. I take him back. Second time in a row, back to back. I get to camp, and the guy that I want to turn this into has a story mission. I can't give him my deer. It automatically, once I walk to him, it automatically takes over. My guy drops the deer on the ground, starts talking. I have to get up and take this wife or whatever of his into wherever we're supposed to go. I got to take her somewhere. I don't know. But as soon as the game gives me control again, I get off the carriage. I walk back over to where my guy dropped the deer. It's not there anymore. I'm like, how many times do I need to kill this thing and bring it back to camp? It's annoying. It really bugged me about the whole freedom thing. Yeah. I realized I picked a bad time to do this, but it still kind of annoys me that there's no way for me to hang on to this.
Yeah, there's no item box or storage there. You just... Yeah.
Some way to get it later so that I can turn it in because of the way that the story is worked out. So that kind of annoyed me. But anyway, we got to take a break. Steve, you good to hang on?
I think I am, yes.
Okay, I hope so. If not, it's totally cool. I know you got things going on. In fact, in honor of the whole Red Dead thing, here's music from Red Dead Redemption 2. It's called A Strange Kindness, which I just found out was the story name for that mission I just played with the German family that I had to do. Mm-hmm. That was the name of the story as the camp moved across the map to Dewberry Creek, I think was the name of the place. Mm. So anyway, we'll be back with more of In-Game Chats and Steve right after this. Welcome back to In-Game Chat. This is music from a game called Timberborn, which I've seen pop up on the Steam sale that's going on. It's a city builder, and city builders get, I don't know, priority with me for some reason because I really enjoy city builders. City Skylines 2 looks fantastic, by the way. Speaking of city,
that's a problem from this fall then, because Skylines 2 comes out a month after Starfield.
I know. It's in October. This has been a year in gaming, man.
Best year for gaming since 2006.
I mean, it has been a good. I've talked about it before, but we talked about the fact that two mainline fighters, the granddaddies of them, basically, your Mortal Kombat and your Starfield, your Street Fighter, Starfighter. Both of those getting direct sequels, not spin-offs, not Street Fighter 4 or 5 Turbo, whatever, or, whatever the Mortal Kombat is. Direct sequels. So in your fighting games, you're good there. Your Zelda folks, you got a brand new entry there. Your Final Fantasy folks, by the way, have you played it, Steve?
I haven't.
Okay.
Add it to the list.
Yeah. Well, you got a PS5?
I don't.
Okay.
But it's coming to Steam now. So that's the other thing that you kind of hinted at with Game Pass and like the PC experience.
Yeah.
It's almost we're getting to a point where you don't even need a console anymore. You can just get everything on PC.
For the most part, you don't.
Yeah, there's quite a few. There's little exceptions, right? So Sony's not going to put their brand new games on the PC, because the second God of War is not there. But you can see, I'm interested to see how they're going to do releases because, for example, Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater Remake, that's coming to PC almost on launch day. And that has been historically a console release type of a game. It was a PlayStation exclusive for years and then Xbox and PlayStation at the same time. But
was Switch is getting a Metal Gear Solid compilation type thing as well. A pretty beefy
volume 1 and volume 2. Yeah, those are all coming out like everything. So in 5 years, are we even going to need a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox?
I think so, in the sense that I feel like PCs will still be not a mystery, but just will still be a question mark to a lot of gamers. PCs will be like, that's not a thing I want to get involved with because there's too much thought into it, or there's too many little moving parts that go with it. Whereas with my console, I buy this, I put a disc in, I play it, my friends are there, that sort of thing. I I agree with you that the more, and Sony really needs to catch up with this. They're doing great with what they're doing so far, but I think it needs to, they need to put that in a little bit more of a speedy sort of, you know, get those things on PC as soon as you can. I know they're thinking, well, that's going to reduce our sales of consoles if we don't, you know, if we limit that or do a day and date with console releases. But nah, man, you're going to make so much money. You're going to make a lot of money.
Spot, right? If they can find their Game Pass solution to that on PC, then, you know, there's going to be, I think, a little bit change the way we see releases. But Lethal Migraine's right about keyboard mouse versus controller. There is that couch mentality that doesn't exist with, and I know there's like Steam links, and I know you can, you know, pipe PC to your TV and use a, you know, third party controller, but it's not the same. It doesn't feel, you know, a perfect example of that is I picked up that I was going to say Arkham game, but it's not an Arkham game. It's that Gotham Knights game. Yeah. That was supposed to be like the 4-player co-op Arkham game that, you know, before Justice League Kill the Justice League comes out. Yeah. That game is garbage on PC. It is barely played. Like the controls are so long. You can tell that it's built for a controller.
Console, yeah.
And you know, it's kind of like a stripped down Arkham game. It really,
oddly enough, though, when I played my, let's say I played the last two. No. I played Batman Arkham Knight, and I played, what was the other one? Batman, what was the one in between? Origins. Yeah. I played Arkham Origins and Arkham Knight on PC. I played them both with a controller, though. There was no way I was about to use a keyboard and mouse, with that type of game. You know,
this is my first attempt through it, and it's not pretty. It's not fun.
For Gotham Knights, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's combined with the game itself. But I haven't played any of the other Arkham Knight games on PC either. But I don't know. Playing Gotham Knights though, I want to. I want to see like what the difference is.
You really should. People were posting screenshots of Arkham Knight and screenshots of Gotham Knights and being like, "This game came out in 2015. This game came out last year." Just to show you how great it looked compared to how horrible. I mean, they really, man. Rocksteady has, I don't know what they've done. But
I don't want to talk about them because I'm worried about them.
I know. I'm in the same boat with you on that. I was fine with them saying, okay, we're done. We'd like to do something different than Batman. That's great. I'm okay with you doing something other than Batman. Not this, though.
They were voluntold to do something. Right?
That's what it feels like.
That's whatever they came out with was definitely like top-down type of direction, and you can tell that what information that they released didn't sit well with most people, and so now they're taking another year to see what they can tweak to kind of get it back to.
This was already after they had restarted the project. They were working on something, and that all got changed. I don't want to say halfway through. I don't know how far into development they were, but all they got changed at some point where they stopped whatever they were working on and then started this Suicide Squad game.
Mm-hmm. Had to have been a Superman game. Had to have been.
I mostly think it was, especially given what we were seeing in Arkham Knight with the mentions of Metropolis and the mentions of the Daily Planet and things like that. Little hints here and there that they were just kind of widening the reach beyond, you know, Gotham. And I kind of thought that's where we would go with it. I was really interested to see like how they would. That's a hard character to develop for as far as a video game's concerned.
Mm-hmm. It is. Much
less as hard as it is to write that character as it is in film, television, and that sort of thing. I was anxious to see what they were doing, and then we don't know what that was. It would be great if some court documents happened to come out, so we could find out what those were. Apparently, that's one way to get them. But yeah, we don't know what it was. They had to start working on Suicide Squad. I am right there with you, Steve. Suicide Squad is being developed from the higher ups rather than actual Rocksteady themselves. It's them saying, put this in, put this in, put this in. It got a horrible reception when people saw it. And they said,
they want a taste of that games as a service pie. That's what they want. They want
things got leaked. where you could see that, oh, this is meant for, because battle passes and everything else. I don't know what else was involved, but it really soured the public on this, even though they weren't that hyped with it to begin with. Mm-hmm. So this didn't help it. And thus hey, we're pushing it back. We're pushing it back.
Yep.
They're not going to change. Trust me, they're not going to change what they started with. They may do some revamps here and there, but I still think the core of that game is still going to be there. And it's no amount of whatever of delay is going to fix what's wrong with that game. Mm-hmm. Even though it's not even out yet. I mean, I realize how cynical and just Debbie Downer I must sound about it.
No, it's just that these big developers, they need consistent revenue to keep making their $200 million games.
Which is a great point to what you just brought up in the Discord with GTA 6.
Yep.
Yeah. That's the rumor, is that GTA 6 will feature an ever-evolving map as Rockstar plans to update the game over time, adding new cities on a regular basis, with Vice City being the main setting. So that kind of falls into your, are they remaking, any type of those past games, right? So maybe that this remake, they've incorporated into GTA 6, and then of course they'll expand, to Liberty City and all the other big cities
that's a pretty tall order, but GTA is their bread and butter. More than anything else, Rockstar Games, GTA is their thing. They've got a ton of great games under their belt. They've got a ton of great games in their library. They got Bully. They've got, the Red Dead series, the GTA series, like we've said, the Midnight Club series, the Max Payne, I think, is in there, or was at some point.
Oh, yeah.
That's Remedy,
Rockstar?
actually.
Remedy, that's right.
That's Remedy, but I want to say the console version was a Rockstar title.
No, it was published by Take-Two, I think. That's why it gets
Take-Two, not 2K. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
2K and Rockstar are the same. Well, LA Noire is another one.
LA Noire, yeah.
Yeah, that they've got. So, I mean, they've got a lot of great things. But GTA is that's what put them on the map. And so having them do this, I would say years ago, I would have looked at that and said, nah, man. Yeah. But now I look at it and I'm like, maybe.
Yeah. Hey,
holy crap, you were right. Rockstar Studios did develop Max Payne 3.
That's what I thought.
Hey, Duke, let me ask you a question about GTA 6. You think it's going to be, story-wise, going to be watered down as compared to the previous entries?
No. Nope. I don't think, because that's kind of what made, that's kind of like their bread and butter, right? It's almost like if they made Starfield, if Bethesda did Starfield and didn't do the mission-based stories, right? Because that's why people play Skyrim and the Fallout is that's really to follow along that story. It's to get deep into the lore, to roam to the maps, to stumble across things. I think all that will be present in whatever version of GTA 6 comes out. It just will be interesting how they incorporate that in the either pay as a service or online aspect, because I think if you look at GTA Online and Red Dead Online right now, I think those are money-making machines. So it's almost like, why stop what's already working? Just come out with your standalone base GTA 6 game, add an online element to it where I think those things make hand over feet money, like just revenues pouring in. You can buy cars and anything you want and drive around. So I don't know what it'll be. I hope it's not something that will take the focus away from what they're good at, and then people will criticize it for whatever microtransactions. And because I'm fine with microtransactions if it's for skins and stuff, but if it's to propel progress and all that stuff, that's where it crosses a line that I'm not gonna bother with.
Yeah. I know
because they've done some they've already done some shady things in there, and playing the game, you'll find out real quick that you got to spend money to make money. So all those every story mission, every update that comes out in GTA Online involves buying a huge vehicle or a building or something. You're going to have to buy something in the $2 to $6 million range to start those missions. So there's been some shady things going on to encourage purchasing of in-game currency online. Yeah, I'll put it that way.
Can you acquire those big things though without having to buy it? You just need to grind more.
Yeah, you just have to grind for it. It's going to take a while to do it. It will take a while to do it, but you can do it given time.
I gotcha. So that's kind of like, for people that just want to jump to it, they'll just fork up the money.
Yeah.
For people that actually play on a daily basis, those are the ones that aren't going to bother. But
that's something I like about the way Rockstar handles that is that, and especially even with Red Dead, because I the option's there, but I don't even touch it.
Right.
The way that they separated the online and the single player, which is great, and I'm glad that they do. I'm glad they don't try and integrate it or don't try and make parts of it. Multiplayer or parts of it is like, here's the community hub and here's this. Let's keep all that out of there. Just make it separate, and I like that fact that they do it.
Yeah.
So that it's something that you can go to if you ever feel like it, but you don't even have to touch it ever if you don't want to.
That's right.
So what game currently mashes both those things together? That's out right now. It's really popular and just came out.
What?
Diablo 4.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay.
So now you have an entire... So this is what I think GTA 6 is going to be. You're going to have your big map, right? And then you're going to have your PvP areas where if you venture into it, you can be attacked by other players. Mm-hmm. And then that's how they they cross the line over, solo story-driven players versus the multiplayer, make sure you have all the best gear or you're screwed player.
Mm-hmm.
I tried out the GTA 5 online stuff when it first hit.
Yeah.
And obviously there were problems and everything else, but I never went back to it. I just never had that interest.
It's still a griefer's paradise.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
Just never felt like doing it again.
When it really solidified for me is when you're basically rewarded for doing so, and you're penalized for defending yourself.
Yeah,
really. When someone tried to attack something I had, and I ended up blowing his vehicle up, I got a message that said, "You're a bad sport. You blew up someone's vehicle, but you didn't take into account that you tried to blow up my $2.5 million shipment I was trying to get delivered."
Don't worry, that happened. I mean, that's in the main game as well, because in Red Dead, in Red Dead, I got shot at by I don't know who, but upon returning fire, I get wanted. It's like, okay, I can't do this then. So now if I just start getting shot at, I just
No, I'm not. Don't be wrong. Don't be wrong. It's not going to stop me.
Yeah,
it's not going to stop me. I'm shooting back.
I just don't want to get involved with it. The combat side of these games, I'm not very good at.
Yeah.
I especially jumping back into it again. I hadn't played it since 2018.
Right.
So jumping back into it, I'm like, okay, how do I take cover? Oh, well, I guess I don't need it. I've got, everybody else is taking cover. I'm standing up in the middle, just like shooting guys as I can, and getting shot at, and then like healing myself when I can as well. I've died a lot more times than I care to admit, but it's mainly because I'm like, just pull trigger, shoot. That's all I know. Run away. It's let me find something I can stand behind because I can't figure out how to take cover. So
I'm going to leave you guys with this one last thing, and then I got to run.
Okay.
This is what kind of like made me question why you changed like something that's already working. This comes out after April of last year, so April 2022. Rockstar makes $25 million in GTA Online every 10 days.
God.
Mm-hmm.
So that's $1 billion a year just from an online service. The game's made over $6 billion to date.
Yeah, which is why they keep putting out new versions of it.
Yeah,
because more people will continue to play.
That GIF that is online where it's like how many Rockstar games we got, between these years, and then in 10 years we've only had one GTA 5. This is why.
Yeah.
If it ain't broke.
Yep. But I got to run and get talking to you again.
Yeah, man.
And hope to, again, be more consistent in the coming weeks.
Hope so, dude. If anything, just keep in touch.
Will do.
So,
yep.
Talk to you later, man.
Take care now.
Bye-bye.
See you, RJ. See you, Scott.
Yep. If you want to get in with us, then, hit us up on Discord, and we will take your call there if you would like to. That's great. Lethal Migraine, before we go, Lethal Migraine brings up a great point, and I realize that now playing Red Dead 2 as well. Dan Houser's no longer there.
Yeah, that's why I was asking about being watered down, because the creative minds that came up with GTA the way it is, the way we perceive it now, they're no longer there now. So who's
which
taking
is
the
not
helm
to say
now?
we're going to get something horrible afterwards. We just don't actually know what we're going to get afterwards. Is it how's it gonna hold up?
Yeah, the stuff that made GTA is it still gonna
with his
is it still
departure
gonna be there? Yeah,
So
that's what.
We're going to take another break. When we come back, we're going to take this phone call here, and we're also going to jump into some of the news here. We've got music here from a game. I think it's out now. I know the demo is. It's an old 3DS game from Capcom called Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. You play a detective who's dead, and you operate his spirit.
I've seen that story before.
Yeah, there was but this is in a much more fun way. Because you basically act as a ghost among the living and that sort of thing. So there's demos of it all over the place. Really cool game. This is music from it. I want to say this is from way back when, not the re-release that they've done recently. But we'll be back with more of In-Game Chat right after this. Welcome back to In-Game Chat. Music here from a game called Boundary. It's from the title screen of that game. I think a lot of these I pulled off the Steam sale page, just looking at different things. Like, I have music for that. Let me check. See if I got that. Anyway, welcome back to the show. Go to the phones, talk to Chris. Hi, Chris.
What's going on?
Not much. What's up, man?
Wish I could be playing on the systems at all since the storms are coming through, but oh well.
Yeah, it's clear here.
For now.
Well,
yeah, for now.
Yeah, for now. Have you ever played any of Final Fantasy 16, or have you kind of just been holding back?
I have not played any of it other than the demo. That's it.
Okay, I was just kind of curious of what you were still thinking about wanting to jump into it.
I mean, I think I do, but Red Dead's holding my attention, which means I don't have to spend $70 on it or how much it is. So, I'm gonna hold off for it, hold off on it for now. It doesn't feel as much as the lead up of hype going into it was. It doesn't feel like there was a, I don't know, like a zeitgeist of players. You know what I'm saying? It didn't feel like there was a moment of everybody's playing this, like it kind of feels with Diablo. Just didn't feel that way, and likely because that's a game that is only on PlayStation 5. That's it. If they had given it a multi-platform release or released it for the PlayStation 4 or had a PC and console release date at the same time, I might have seen a lot more people playing and talking about it. But given that it's only on PS5, the noise that it's making is not very big.
Yeah.
And that's not to put anything against it. I think the reviews on it are great. That's not something that is, the quality of it is not keeping me away from it. But as much as I felt like I need to play this leading up to it, once it released and got out there, I didn't feel as bad for not jumping in on it right then. And I know that it's going to be there come whenever I do decide to get around to it.
Yeah.
It's still going to be there. It may even be on PC, but by that time, but still, it's one of those things where it's like, I was interested in it and I still am interested in it, but the desire to be there immediately to play it is not. Is not
Okay.
there.
Well, what about Diablo then?
See, that's the thing. I would likely play Diablo before I would play Final Fantasy 16, but I haven't picked that up either. So I was still like me and Steve were saying in the earlier thing, I was still kind of on the fence about it, just for we've talked a lot about that company, Activision and Blizzard, and mostly Activision on that side of things. But I get what Steve's saying as far as, there's plenty of other people who worked on that title that are not, horrible people. Mm-hmm. It's the horrible people that we hear about. The ones that are not, you don't hear anything about them. And there's probably way more of them than there is on the other side of that coin.
It's like an apple tree being considered, bad because there's only a couple of rotten apples on it, but the whole tree itself is not rotten in a way. It's just it makes everything look bad because of a couple of rotten apples. Kind
of in that vein. So I mean, I kind of get what Steve's saying in that regard. So like I said, if anything were to jump on any of those things, I'll probably hit Diablo first before I would hit that. Mainly, I mean, you got Steve playing it. You got James is in our Discord there. He's playing it. Matt's playing it.
Me too.
Chris is playing it. Lots of people that I know are actually playing the game. We actually put a channel up on our Destiny Discord for our Destiny clan. We put a Diablo 4 channel up there because we had maybe some people playing it, but it's one of those things where it's just that's gotten more discussion than mostly anything else. As far as the new stuff.
And the cool thing is, since it's all cross-platform, you can play it on any system or PC that you want to, whenever you decide to jump into it.
Yep.
Or if you do.
Yeah. Probably would go PC on that, though, I think.
You have more control over the different classes and skills with the keyboard and mouse.
I tell you, man, I tried. So I kind of had that console. The thing was that I hadn't been utilizing Game Pass as much as I felt like I should. And I was like, there's lots of games on Game Pass. I should look through there and pick out some games to play. And I started with that a couple of weeks ago with Road 96.
Yeah.
That Biloxi Gambler brought up. So, I started with that one and I was looking through and I'm like, man, there's some other really cool games. I should just go ahead and download these. And I downloaded a bunch. Did I play them? No. But I downloaded a lot of them. And, I just started getting back into that console thing. And there was City Skylines on there, which I really loved playing on PC. Mm-hmm. I thought, hey, let me see how the console thing handles. So I downloaded that and I tried to play it. Man, like if only you've ever experienced the console version of that, maybe you can work with it. But coming off a PC trying to work with those controls, and they tried their best to make it work on a console with those kind of controls. Mm-hmm. But keyboard and mouse on a city builder just cannot be beat. It is just that good. And I imagine the same thing can be said for Diablo 4. I know they've gotten it. I've watched gameplay videos of Diablo 4 played on the console. I can see the different things, the way that it can be worked with a controller. Looks pretty intuitive. I haven't given it a shot, but it looks like they did a really good job of how you can control all of those elements of your character with a controller. Mm-hmm. I haven't played it to test that, but just by looking at it, it looks intuitive. Don't know. But I can tell you now. And so I also got back into Civilization. I played Civilization 6 on PC. They have that on console, on Xbox. I did download it. I didn't fire it up. I fired up City Skylines first, and I thought, oh, this is horrible. I kind of feel a little nervous about starting Civilization 6 on console as well. I was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Just that mouse and keyboard for your builders and your 4X type games and that sort of thing. Man, it's hard to beat it. Or at least it's hard to move away from it once you've experienced it. Mm-hmm. In that sense. So, yeah, I don't know. So anyway.
Yeah, I want to eventually probably get in that spots, down the road because I want to most likely jump into Starfield. I don't know if it's going to be fresh out of the gate or next year sometime because I want to eventually get into it most likely. and the new Elder Scrolls whenever it comes out, since they are owned by Microsoft now. So
that's right. You're not going to get that. So
yeah,
Fallout.
We're not going to get any of that stuff no more. So if of course, me and my friends, love playing those series of games. So looks like I'm going to have to jump on board if I want to play that kind of stuff in the future.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I forgot. Fallout 4 was that a PlayStation and Xbox release?
Yeah.
Fallout
4 was on all.
Huh. And Fallout 76 was on all of them as well.
I believe so.
Yeah,
I know it's on PlayStation. I think it is though.
I think Starfield is going to be the first one that's going to be exclusive since they bought them out.
Wow. And then from there on out, it's going to be that way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Starfield.
Unless they change their mind and they want to spread out and let everybody else play it and get more money from other companies and stuff, but who knows?
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Don't think,
but that's going to be up to them on their end, and if they allow them to do so.
Yeah. And who knows if they will or not? But given what we know, I don't know if they will.
Or maybe at least if it has like a year exclusivity on the native console that through Microsoft, and then it eventually releases like on some of the other things like PlayStation has on PC in the past.
Well, I saw where Stray was getting an Xbox release, which I know it's not. I mean, it was a PlayStation exclusive for a while. Then it got a PC release, and now it's getting an Xbox release. I mean, it's not a first-party PlayStation Studio type of thing, but I guess that's one that I just wasn't paying attention to. So when I heard it was coming out for Xbox, I was like, "Oh, okay, you're not a Sony property." Then thinking that they were. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Yeah, you should look into getting a PC. What is so? This is a great conversation to go from, because we were talking to Steve about where pretty soon you won't need a console at all. You can just have a PC. But it sounds like you're console guy, not PC guy.
Yeah, I used to be in the PC, but the last one I had was for Diablo 3 when it first came out, and then yeah, I mean, it's been collecting and collecting dust ever since, like since first couple months, that it came out, and then everything else, I was console only. So yeah, I'll probably never buy another PC again.
Why?
It's just it's easier for everything else, and I've got some other things on console, and the way I've got everything hooked up, I just it's just more easier for me just to push a button and
Yeah, let me be clear to everybody listening, and to you, Chris, as well. I have no problem with you doing that. My question of why was a general curiosity question as to why that is for you. Why is it that you're probably not going back to PC? And it's a lot like what I said earlier, where there are some gamers who just don't want to mess with a PC. They like the fact that they can buy a system, put the disc in, and they don't have to worry about anything else. Whereas when you buy the parts of your PC, you've got to put it together, assuming you go that route. Mm-hmm. Now you don't even have to. Now you can pick the parts you want. The company will build it for you and send it off. It's gotten. I will say the pre-builts have gotten a lot better than what they used to be. I'm not near as opposed to them. When people talk about buying a PC and they talk about getting a pre-built, I'm not near as opposed to them like I used to be.
Because we remember how they used to be.
Yeah, I remember how they used to be. They're not like that anymore. Probably depending on where you buy from, but that's a whole nother story. The point of that being is that when you do that, you buy a PC. When you buy a game on a PC, you're not just putting in a disc in. You've got to install that game. You've got to open it up and hopefully it starts right. Then you can get into the tweaking if you want to. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of games now that come with, pre-settings inside where you don't have to tweak everything. If you want your medium, it'll set it to medium. If you want your ultra, your high, whatever, it'll do that. But then there's the aspects where you can tweak every little bit of thing that you want to tweak. Yeah. Some people don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And I am that person sometimes.
Yeah. Well,
sometimes I don't want to mess with all that stuff.
Yeah.
I read threads on how to get the most out of your game, and they're like, well, you got to tweak this, just see how it works for you. And I'm like, that's fun sometimes, but sometimes I don't really care about any of that.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit there and try that.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, it's all about convenience versus control.
Yeah.
Really. That's all it boils down to. Some are more into the convenience of having the console, and some people are more into the control that having the game on PC can give you. So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, if I had spare time and I didn't have all the other consoles and stuff, I wouldn't mind jumping into it and everything, but it's just, I wouldn't even have time to even do anything since everything I play on that is on console, and I've got so used to it over the years. I probably hadn't, before Diablo 3, when it came out years ago, it was, back in the mid-90s, it was the last time I ever played on PC, the golden age, as you would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in my case, go ahead.
You can go ahead, RJ.
Yeah, I was just saying, in my case, in terms of gaming-wise, I've been console pretty much my entire life. I mean, games I've had on PC is because I really had no other option but to have it on PC. I mean, if a game was piqued my interest well enough, yeah, I would go the route and go through Steam or pick up the game itself and just put it on my PC and have at it that way. Or to play with others who can't play on the format that I have. Destiny, for a while, wouldn't have that crossplay. Playing on PC as opposed to playing on the console. Or my Steam library, which is still only in the double digits. It's some because I got games I don't even remember picking up.
Going back to that cross-save thing that we were talking about with Steve, I believe Fallout 76 lets you do that. Mm-hmm. I believe Fallout 76 has that cross-save for wherever you play it on, which makes me feel a little bit more hopeful towards Starfield being able to do that as well, where you play it on your console and you can carry that save over to PC.
Well, if that's the case, people are going to be looking for it because...
Yeah, from what I've read and everything, it's going to be online only for Starfield, isn't it?
You're right, actually, it is. Even though there's no online component to it, it is going to be online only.
Be online.
Yes.
Then they ought to have systems built in where it's like Diablo, where you can play wherever you want to, or like cross.
And they very well may have. This may be a thing that flew under my radar. I just missed it. I really haven't gone out there to search it. I've sort of just asked it on the show from time to time. It's something I really should look up and see, but I don't even know if it's been announced yet.
Is that for the generation of stuff in the game? About the online aspect?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why you have to always be online. I think.
Yeah. Why would you have to be? I'm trying to think of why you have to be online. Is it for generating stuff?
Probably for the procedural generation. Yeah, because when he talks about having 100 planets or 1,000 planets and 100 star systems, that's probably something that's pulled from the internet rather than pulled from the disk.
Yeah.
I think they probably have the major systems, the major things that run the game in place are going to be on the console, and the rest of the data is going to be on the internet. Like that take up way too much room. That'd probably be impossible to do unless it was all online only.
That was something that was integrated with the flight sim that I was playing. Mm-hmm. The textures and everything else, the map, the imagery,
your house
was pulled in online as you're playing. So you pick that area, and it loads assets from that area that it can pull from, and as you fly, it loads in there. It's not something. Again, I didn't install that much onto my. There's by the way, there's a lot in Flight Simulator that you can install. A ton, not just different types of aircraft, but locations.
We're talking GPS level stuff, aren't we?
Highly detailed locations, yes.
So North America.
No. That's too much. Put it more like San Francisco.
Okay.
Chicago.
Right. Okay.
New York. Not North America. That's a lot.
No. It's like I said, I was thinking like GPS, because there's like bundles that say like because there are bundles that says North America. What area?
Yeah, essentially is what that is. Well, Chris, thanks so much for calling in, man. We got to run.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. See y'all later.
All right, man.
Hey,
take care
now.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Yeah, we're coming up to the break here that we're going to go into, and we're going to take that break, and then when we come back, we'll hit up what we played, even though I pretty much talked about all of mine. We'll talk about what RJ's played over the week, and then maybe get into some of the news we talked about. We were going over this court stuff, and there's a bunch there that I could probably save. I'd love a wrap-up after it's all over with as to what all happened with this thing, some kind of timeline of like, we learned this is what we found out from this, but...
I just wait for the novelization of it.
It's so much.
Yeah, I know.
There's so much. Like, they wanted to buy Sega and Bungie. Microsoft did. They were looking to acquire them again. Excuse me again.
They got the money.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just a lot from that. It's on the outside. It's been fascinating to watch it play out. Really, really fascinating. We have got music here from a game that has just exploded. I watched a review of it one day and I thought, hey, that's really good. And then the next day I saw that a lot of people on Steam were playing it. Matt was playing it. It's called Dave the Diver. It's a little pixelated type game. Anyway, this track is called Tunnel of Darkness. And we'll be back with more of In-Game Chat right after this. Welcome back into In-Game Chat. This is music from a game called Layers of Fear. This is this year version of Layers of Fear, which I can't remember if that was a remake or they remastered the old one or they just kind of did more Layers of Fear. That's a good. It's supposed to be a horror game, but there's very little horror involved.
Yeah, I'm about to say that music. If that music's any indication, it's not very.
It's
scary.
It's more puzzly and that sort of thing. But it's one of the few horrors games that I'm actually interested in. Mm-hmm. Let's go to the phones. Talk to Biloxi Gambler. Hey, man.
Hey, so 2 weeks ago, the last 40 seconds of the show, you mentioned Road 96. And I go, I ain't even got time to dial the number.
Nope, you didn't.
And then the next weekend, of course, is holiday weekend. I said, well, he mentions it this week, I'm going to talk to him. Okay, I finished the game now 4 times for sure.
Wow.
And you get, to finish the game, like one time it took 9 hitchhikers to do it. And then another time, I only had 5 hitchhikers. And then it ended at the 5th one. So, but having done it all these times, it is very interesting because you get different chapters that you didn't get the first time you played it or the second time you played it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so they keep it fresh. Now, there's some repetitive chapters, no doubt. And then at the end, you know when it's going to end. And you go, okay, yeah, this is when you go in the cave. You go, okay, this is the end of it. And then they're going to arrest me. But when they arrest you, you still get free, or I do. Every time I've gotten free there at the end, and depending on how you play, and because I change, when they do the setup again, I answer the questions differently.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And just to see what effect that would have. And then I do different things in the game, like one time I'll do this, and then the next time I'll do that, and to see what happens. And it really you get some surprising endings from that.
Yeah.
So it's I haven't been playing Bully. I haven't been playing the show. I haven't. It's just all I do is Road 96.
No, that's perfectly fine. Yeah. I got through. I want to say I played three or four different characters.
Right. That's still just one game, though.
That's still just one game because I was only on chapter 3 or chapter 4 of that progress, and so far nobody's made it. I got discovered hiding under the truck once when they were looking for me there. I got arrested twice.
Yeah, you mentioned that about getting caught in the truck. The trick to that is, you can buy a fortune pig, and then you've also got to have a good luck amulet, and ain't no telling how you get that.
Good God.
And it just comes up in one of the other chapters. And you've got to, basically what you're doing there at the end is you've got to have max energy. You know, your energy bar?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's got to be maxed out. So you got to be rested, fed, watered, everything, because you're holding your breath on that third level there.
Yeah.
And that energy bar is dropping down, and if you didn't have enough energy, it drops down, and then you have to take a breath, and then that's how they catch you.
Right. That's how I got caught. Was the I remember that it was the breathing. Yeah. Held my breath.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a fun game. One of the other things is I don't start a new game. So when I finish, you know, and I don't know, 8, 9 chapters or whatever, and I finish that game, it gives you the option to continue. So I click continue, and you start out with a blank map, and you're the first hitchhiker headed out. All over again. And what happens is all the stuff that you picked up, like that good luck amulet I was talking about, the lock picking skill, the hacking skill.
Does it carry over?
It carries over.
Hey. Nice.
Yes.
Okay.
And so that, So anyway, I thought that was another cool element of the game as well. But I want to hear the news. I didn't want to take up all your time, but that's what I've been doing. So if you get time, play it some more, and I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to enjoy it.
Okay.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, Biloxi, before you go, I wanted to ask you a question because you mentioned something, and Scott did as well about Road 96. You mentioned that some of the characters lose their lives going through this thing. Have you had a playthrough where no one lost their life for being completely gone through? So that is possible. Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, RJ. And how's your computer? But anyway, tell me after I finish.
Okay.
Yes, and the thing is, of course, not giving any secrets away, but I mean, the spoilers. The thing is, different characters have different alliances that you don't know the first time you play the game.
Right.
Like you would think this person's for the government, but they're not. And then you think this person's against the government, but they're not. They're actually for the government. Okay? And because I have that knowledge, because I think there's 5 or 6 NPCs, I guess, that you interact with. Yeah. And as you but I already know what these people like and what they don't like. So that keeps me from getting killed. Like there's a serial killer in the thing named Jared, and I know his backstory.
Is that the cab driver?
Yes, the Happy Taxi cab driver.
Like I found him. I talked to him at some point.
Yeah.
I ran across him and the antenna tower or whatever it was, and we smashed it, and then we talked for a while, and I thought at some point he's going to kill me. He never did, but
right. Well, you were doing good. The thing is, though, Jared will show up in other chapters, not just that chapter. He'll show up, depending on which hitchhiker you are, he'll show up in another chapter. He's got multiple chapters. In fact, the first time I ever played it, I think I told this about 3 weeks ago now.
Yeah, you got killed right off the bat.
But yeah, I got killed right off within the first 5 minutes of playing the game. I said, there's no way that guy was going to kill me. Oh, yeah, he killed me. And because I met Jared first. And but now I know how to play Jared. I know about his daughter and this, that, and the other. And but anyway, and all these people, by the end of the game, well, particularly after you played the game to the end several times, because it opens up different parts of the story, and they're all interrelated the whole time. As far as That is so cool. Anyway,
I noticed some of it when I was playing, and I can't remember. I can't remember who it was that I noticed it with, but I was like, "Oh wait, that's the maybe it was the trucker. I think the truck driver that I ran into. Yeah, because I think I ran into him twice.
Oh yeah, you will, and he'll show up in different chapters.
Yeah.
I mean, he has multiple chapters as well. It's not always the same experience when you're riding with John, or John picks you up.
And the two biker guys or whatever, the two...
Yeah, Stan and Mitch. Yeah, Stan and Mitch. They're funny. They even do that. You know, like there was a TV show where they would do a quiz in a cab. You know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, they do that. Did you get to do that?
No. Not yet.
Yeah. That's one of the chapters. Well, it's not in every time. You know, like I say, I played 4 or 5 times all the way through with multiple hitchhikers, and it's not every time I play that I get that. And you don't know who Stan and Mitch are yet, do you?
No, I don't. They've still been in their masks the entire time.
Well, of course, but you know Sonia,
she's the reporter.
Anchor person.
Yeah. They really like her.
Yeah. Well, that's because she's her sister.
Oh, okay. I was thinking related. I was thinking it was going to be some sort of relation.
Yeah, and they're trying to save her. So now you know their backstory. They're trying to save Sonia, and they're against the brigade.
Yeah.
They're actually pro-government. But anyway, they're funny. But anyway, all right. Well, tell us about your computer, RJ, and then I want to hear about that court case.
All right, man.
Okay.
Talk to y'all later.
See ya.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. How is your computer, by the way?
Yeah, computer's running. Computer's still running fine. Just have to replace some parts here and there, but for the most part, it is up and running. The performance isn't where it was, but that's because of the 2 memory slots. Mm-hmm. But with a replaced board, it'll be back to up and running at full capacity. But it's up and running now. It's up and running. So I'm happy we got that settled.
Yeah.
Still a little ways to go, but it won't take long when I get the new parts in.
I mean, how long? What are you looking at? Or are you even looking at?
It's just going to be a motherboard.
So that's really all you're waiting on is a motherboard?
Motherboard, yeah.
Well, as far as the court case is concerned, I mean, there's nothing out there yet. There's no decision being based on it, but the judge involved with this thing seems really, I don't want to say, they're not biased towards Sony or Microsoft or anything like that, but they seem to be not taking any sort of nonsense, you know? They seem to be on the side of Microsoft in this regard.
They've been annoyed for a minute.
Yeah, the judge has.
Yeah,
that seems to be the case, yes.
And if anyone's been in a courtroom or served jury duty, you don't want to see the judge when he or she gets annoyed or upset.
But this is like
real stuff going.
This is like corporate court.
It's still a
so
judge.
I don't know.
Still an annoyed judge.
Yeah, I don't know how that all works, but it's I don't know.
This is the point cops and sheriffs get involved when they get annoyed, man.
Yeah, we found out that they were going to try and buy Sega and Bungie. Then there was going to be what was the other one? Square Enix?
Square Enix, yeah.
That they were possibly going to buy Square Enix, which is interesting that would be on that was even on the list. I know Square they were selling stuff off way back when. And I'm guessing that's when they thought that, hey, maybe we can get away with purchasing the company here. They're selling their other assets, so why don't we get in on this as well? So I don't know, but they didn't. And yeah, so there's been a back and forth with, Sony saying this and Microsoft kind of denying it or not necessarily saying anything about it. Just kind of keeping quiet, saying, maybe, sure, whatever. But there was words about a PlayStation 5 Slim and a PlayStation 5 Pro. This doesn't feel like news, I guess you could say, because, I mean, Sony's done this before.
Yeah. So.
Unless there was something in there about it, about when it could be released, I don't know. But yeah, what else did we find out from that? Microsoft considered Square Enix. Phil Spencer says that Microsoft bought Bethesda to prevent Starfield from being a PlayStation exclusive. That's a possibility, but I doubt they only bought that company for one single title. However, let's see. Let me look here. When we acquired ZeniMax, one of the impetus for that is that Sony had done a deal for Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo to pay Bethesda to not ship those games on Xbox, he said. This is Phil Spencer. So the discussion about Starfield, when we heard that Starfield was potentially going to end up skipping Xbox, we can't be in a position as a third-place console where we will fall further behind on our content ownership. So we've had to secure content to remain viable in the business. It's the question of the Sony brings up something, or I say Sony, whoever, the FTC brings up and says, they bought this company so they could keep this done. Well, here's our reasoning for this. Here's our reasoning behind this. Sony had already gotten 2 exclusives off of this company, which we own. And we wanted to secure this next game to make sure that that also didn't happen. And I guess the only way to do that was to just say, fine, we're just going to make it exclusive, rather than say, we'll put it on your console, but it can't be exclusive to your console, you know? Mm-hmm. Which I guess would be a way that they could have done that. Spencer explained to the court that releasing games on both consoles handed money to Sony that it then used against its competitor. Every time, this is Microsoft, this is Xbox saying this, every time we ship a game on PlayStation, Sony captures 30% of the revenue that we do on their platform. And then they use that money, among other revenue that they have, to do things to try to reduce Xbox's survival on the market. We try to compete, but as I said, over the last 20 years, we failed to do that effectively. So that was the reason. On the question of whether that meant Elder Scrolls 6 would be exclusive to Xbox and PC, Spencer remained vague. I think we've been a little unclear on what platforms it's launching on, given how far out that game is. It's difficult for us right now to nail down. It's not. Involved with court and talking, you know, what can be used against you in court, that's a perfectly good thing to say. But it's not true. The first Bethesda game to skip PlayStation since the acquisition was Redfall, which feels rather recent, given that Redfall just came out a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
And that's the first game that Bethesda was not going to put out on there. Anyway, released in May, which hasn't exactly been, that great.
Yeah.
So yeah. Lethal Migraine says that Microsoft also wanted to buy everything to run Sony out of the business. Wanted to do a scorched earth policy and just let's just buy as much as we can so that they won't have anything.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it gets that way. I'm sure you think about the ways, especially when you've got money like Microsoft has, when you think about, can't we just
possibly you can
buy them out of business without actually directly buying them because, they're not for sale, but we can take away every single aspect of what they can release.
The sole purpose of getting this is so that you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I actually split up the news this week. Court stuff, and then there's not court stuff. The not court stuff was, the Starfield exclusivity. Annapurna Interactive is working on a Blade Runner 2033 game, which looks really nice, but we don't know much about it. We only see what it looks like. There is apparently a remake of Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Seems, I don't know if Skull and Bones is ever going to get off the ground, but they've got stuff there to work with. If they can just take what they're doing with Skull and Bones, put that into a remake of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, you're more than halfway there, I would think. Is it Daedalic Entertainment, I believe? Yeah, Daedalic Entertainment. They've released games before, but they're the ones that released that Gollum game that has now been considered like the worst game released not just this year, but in many years.
I was about to say if you say all time, well,
I'm not going all time.
We can come up with some bad ones now.
But it's gonna sit there because it ruined a company. I mean, Redfall was bad, right?
Yeah.
But Bethesda's still around. Gollum releases and it's bad. Daedalic shuts down. They're stopping development of games. They're going to only look at publishing now. They're not going to develop any games anymore after that release of Gollum.
So they went, F it, I'm out.
It died such a horrible death that they couldn't go on. So yeah, bad for them. What else did I have? Oh man, did you look at those Sega documents?
No, I didn't. But I saw the thing about their stance on that NFT thing they were doing, and
well, there was that. Sony is they're not going to do those. They're not going to do those blockchain things, and they call free to play games being boring and that sort of thing. That's perfectly fine. The '90s documents from Sega, I don't know where these came from, but when you look at it, they talk about how well they're doing. Like, oh man, the Saturn is just blowing PlayStation out of the water, doing all these great things. It's one of those things where you kind of look into a window in the past and people are writing about how bright their future looks when they don't even see it, you know? Mm-hmm. Kind of like watching the Titanic and everybody knows that they're not about to sink on this ship. You know, everything's fine and dandy. Same thing with Sega. They were riding high just before they hit that iceberg. But it's one of those things that's kind of sad to see because it's like, oh man, they don't even know what's coming. They have no idea what's headed their way. As far as the consoles, they're fine at making they're still making games and they're still doing fine in that regard. But you know, the console part of things, is the one to look at there. So, let's see. Bama Bryan says, "Are you guys getting anything for Prime Day?" Nope. I haven't even looked at deals on Prime Day. No. Yeah. I'm not in the market for a lot of things. Looking for not a memory card, looking for a hard drive for my Steam Deck. That's about it. You know, the major, the big hard drive.
The big one.
Not the memory card, but the actual hard drive itself. So, I mean, that's about it. That's on my radar. Unless there's some kind of obscenely good deal on something that I look at and be like, oh, yeah, I need one of those.
Yeah. I know I'm getting emails about Prime Day left and right.
I opened up the Amazon app today because I was checking on prices. And if you haven't opened up your Amazon app in a while, you'll be reminded that Prime Day is coming soon when you open that thing up. Yeah. It is very much trying to get your attention about Prime Day. Prime Day, Prime Day. I don't care. I feel, it feels like they kind of went the way of Steam sales, like the Black Friday and the Prime Day stuff. Used to be one of those things that was fun to navigate, kind of like, ooh, what's going to be? And now it's like,
well, it used to be, you got to bear in mind, back then, there used to be an actual deal.
I know.
Now it
doesn't feel like deals.
It ain't a deal no more, man. Yeah.
Doesn't feel like deals. It's Tuesday and Wednesday. So, just not pulling me in.
Yeah, I did Black Friday one time. That's the last time I did it. That was a long time ago, too.
Yeah. Anyway, the only other thing I saw here was that MetaQuest, the VR platform, the Quest, it got a subscription service, kind of like a PlayStation Plus type thing. You pay a certain amount of money. I don't know if it's a month or a year that you have to subscribe to, and then I think you get 2 free games a month as long as you're subscribed. Problem is, the first couple of games they've listed for this month and next month and the months ahead, I already own them.
No. So you're not going to get your money's worth.
So it's not really going to do anything for me in that regard.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Because PlayStation, I remember, because, we get games every month on PlayStation Plus, but that's $60 a year. So is it, I know you don't, do you know the price of it, this thing?
Of the subscription service? It's, I want to say it was like 50
a year?
60 a year.
60 a year. Okay.
Yeah.
About the same. So, yeah. So
it's either $8 a month or 60 a year.
Yeah, 60 a year. Okay. Yeah. 60 a year.
Yeah.
So similar to what PlayStation Plus's thing is. It was a Game Pass is not offered on a yearly basis, is it?
It is not. No,
No, that's like something a month, right?
it is.
Okay.
You can pay in advance to cover that if you want to.
Yeah.
But it's not like they have a drop down thing of like, I want to pay a year of this. Nope. I can sit there and pay for a month, and then I can go back and I can pay for another month, and I pay for another month, or maybe I can get a card that has 3 months. I can put that on there.
See, I'm trying to think of a standard for these subscription services, whatnot, because Prime is like what, 100 a year, 110 a year,
It's 100 and something like that.
110 a year?
100 plus a year.
yeah, 100 plus a year, and then online access for gaming 60 a year or 50 a year, 60 to 50 a year, and then Game Pass is I'm surprised not no yearly thing there. You said a 3-month thing, 1 month thing, a 3-month.
I think everything's 3-month cards you can buy.
Yeah, 3-month card thing, but they're not fully to go to year.
No, there may be a 6-month card, but I don't think there is. I think it's just 3 months. So.
Yeah.
That is going to wrap it up for us, everybody. Thanks for welcoming us back after the holiday weekend there. Appreciate all the calls. Appreciate everybody on Discord. Appreciate talking to everybody. We do enjoy that, so keep it coming. All right. Don't forget to join us on Discord, join us on Steam. I don't know, subscribe to YouTube and iTunes. The whole spiel that we have at the end of the show. You know what I mean. But we appreciate you joining in and tuning in. Music here from BattleBit Remastered. It's the main theme of it. We will see you guys next week. Have a good one.